O priest with the heart of a warrior bold, rest now, for the battle is ended. No more will thy voice move our hosts as of old. No more the just cause undefended. Find thee as a champion, valorous, brave, undaunted by peril or danger, with strong arm to fight the nastard and knave, or shelter the homeless and stranger. No more at the altar with uplifted hands, in royal Melchizedek's line, enraptured with love and with joy will you stand, to offer the water and wine. No more when the shadows of even are near, O Sagas, so gentle and mild, will you gather the children around you to hear of the Christ who was born as a child. O kindest and gentlest and strongest of souls, may Mary's blue mantle fold o'er thee. May thy journey be brief to its heavenly goal, where Aaron's sweet saints are before thee. God grant that thy memory live with us still, thy children in joy and in sorrow, till we meet on Zion's eternal glad hill, with the just in the golden
West, now as some blind with greed wish to take away collective bargaining rights, can you imagine having to go backward in that way? We must make sure that we ensure the future of collective bargaining, both for the private sector and the public sector. Yes. I conclude with an anecdote. My father, William Shields, growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, ancestors tracing back to County Mayo, saw new people move into the neighborhood, these Polish immigrants. They came in and he had many a battle with the Polish youth on the streets of Cleveland in his neighborhood. Finally, he met a woman named Florence Jankowski. He said, "Bill, I decided I couldn't beat them, so I joined them. I married your mother." So it's in that sense of multicultural solidarity to celebrate the best of what Father Yorke means to us. I'd like to say, Father Peter Yorke, presente. Thank you.
At this time, Bob Toomey is going to give us a few words. If you will, Bob.
Sure.
Woo! So, I've been fortunate enough to be brought up in this community in San Francisco, but I followed, some of you knew my dad and my grandmother Nellie, and maybe even further back, my grandfather Bill Toomey from St. Philip's Parish. They were both immigrants from County Cork, from Balavorny. And I think each generation of my family has actually kind of mixed with immigrants. My former wife is Filipino, but on my mother's side, we have a longer tradition of Irish. And I think today I got to hear some of that stuff that used to happen south of the Slots. Some of you may be familiar with the South of Market neighborhood that we don't see as an Irish neighborhood now, except on St. Patrick's Day when we go to St. Patrick's Church. But that was a solid neighborhood. And there was a lot of churches in that neighborhood, and there was a lot of Irish people there. And I think when I look to myself and I speak about like how I identify myself, one of the first things I always say is, well, I'm a San Franciscan. But I don't think it's a unique thing to be a San Franciscan. I think being Irish and San Franciscan is almost intermingled together. And I think being Catholic, an Irish Catholic San Franciscan. So once I start this discussion, it just kind of has this natural wave to it. And it's a fabric. And each of you are contributing to the fabric. And I think Father Walsh's words today, I'm not sure how many of you were educated by what he presented today, but I certainly was. I'm not sure that I really understood who Father was. And I think I've come out here each year waiting for somebody to actually say what Father Walsh said today. And I just was amazed. And I think Jim's comments, Jim Bresnahan has always been a wonderful leader in our community for me. But I listened to you this morning, Jim mentioned, and I heard you talk in a way that made me proud to be Irish. So many times over the course of my career, both as a San Franciscan growing up here and being involved in the Irish community, I've heard people step up and speak in such an eloquent way. And I think that pays tribute to someone like Father Yorke, who allowed for the labor community to continue to thrive and to nourish our community and build up San Francisco the way it is. And what what I would ask each of you to do is next year, make an effort to put this on your calendar now. We know it's going to be on Palm Sunday. We always know it's going to be on Palm Sunday. Let's fill up that church. Bring 2 people that aren't here today that maybe we can share this story with, because it's going to die if we don't do that. So it's really important that we continue to bring people to this and have them have the opportunity to learn about Father Yorke and how important Father Yorke was to the Irish immigrants, to immigrants in general, to labor, and to San Francisco. So thank you all for everything you're doing to contribute to this event every year. Thanks.
Now we'll have one more tune from the... Right now I'd like to introduce Pat Mulligan, Harper's Local 22.
It's tough going last. We meet today to honor the life of Father Peter Yorke, to embrace the ideas he fought so hard to promote, and to ensure that his lessons are not lost to history. In spite of changes in business models, politics, and demographics, Father Yorke's writings, sermons, and lectures in defense of the rights of working people resonate through time and are prevalent today, nearly a century later. Though regarded as radical or even revolutionary, to Father Yorke, these ideas were simply born out of the New Testament, from his own basic idea of what it meant to be Christian. As with our own faith, it is incumbent upon us to preserve his memory and to perpetuate his teachings. Although his role in the social reform that took place in San Francisco at the turn of the century was pivotal, even transformative, most historians have dealt with them only peripherally, at times only in footnotes, perhaps because he was not an elected official or a union leader. Maybe he was treated this way simply because he's a priest. Regardless of the cause, this makes our role today that much more important, to ensure that the memory of Father Peter Yorke endures and to preserve the lessons of his teachings. It has been said that endurance and perseverance are the most important qualities of all, more important even than truth, because in the end, in the final analysis, what endures ultimately is what becomes the truth. Thank you.
Okay, we have one more speaker, if John O'Rourke, local six electrician.
All right, John.
Thank you. It is my distinct honor and privilege to stand before you this morning to pay our respects to a great man, a champion of workers, Father Peter Yorke. Those of us in the labor movement can draw from and be inspired by the great acts and the example that Father Peter Yorke gave us. I draw from my Catholic faith. I use it as my moral compass to guide me and direct me as it relates to my job, my mission. And today, who will be our warrior? Who is the champion for trade unionists, working men and women? Of recent times, the silence has been deafening, but as of late, we have had an awakening within the labor movement. We see what has taken place in this great country, and it's time for us to respond in an appropriate manner. It's all on the line right now. We don't have to look at Madison, Wisconsin. We can look across this country to see 9 to 14 states that are trying to strip away the rights of workers to collectively bargain, both in the public sector and the attack upon the private sector is prevalent. The outsourcing of our jobs, the offshoring of jobs in manufacturing, it's a very trying and difficult time for us. But I believe as of late, we have seen an awakening within our midst. We are coming together as we have in the past, and it's great to see what is happening, because it is, for all of us, that point in time that will define where we go from here. I will take my leave at this point. I look forward to this event each year to give tribute to a great man, the champion of workers' rights, the champion of trade unionists, and the way we give back, the way we emulate, and the way we show the great respect and admiration we have is take it out into the street, into our families, into our communities, and make sure that our Catholic faith and those who've gone before us are identified as those guiding principles that lead us and encourage us to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. And, you know, as Dermot, the great poet, said, brevity is the soul of wit. And I guess I'm witless. I'd like to recognize Manny Flores, Azalea. She's wearing a beautiful hat, Frank Masterson. I just want to say that Father Yorke's legacy has been passed on to us, right? And our actions today, the steps that we take to ensure that we have the right to bargain, right, will be our legacy. So I want to thank you again for all coming. And Dermot's going to send us home.
Because Mike has done a wonderful job as being the Grand Marshal. And we have one more event left, and that is the Robert Emmett Day Golden Gate Park. And this is something I think that we should all, if possible, try and make it out there. What is the date, Kathleen? It's in September. We'll notify everybody about that. I want to thank all members of our club for being the representatives from our club for being here. We have Nell O'Keefe, we have Pat Dorsey, we have a whole bunch of our people here as well. And we're so thankful to have the unions here. It's really important. And we thank Rogine for showing up at everything again to use this. We're all going over to Malloy's afterwards. Before we go, there's one little thing, and I know you're cold. One little thing. You know, back in Ireland, where Father Yorke was born, people don't know about him. They don't know about him at all. And Father Walsh went to look for his birthplace and couldn't find it. So I think with all of us, our clubs, the unions, and everybody, we should maybe take it upon ourselves down the line to talk about putting a little plaque on the place where he was born in Ireland. I think that's the least we can do for such a fine place. We have with us Sean McGarry, late of our board, and who is responsible for getting the Teamsters Union. I beg your pardon. The Carpenters Union to sponsor the event today. But also, I'm sure that Sean, because he is from Salt Hill, close to where Father Yorke was born, he might help us in setting up a little committee to work on the plaque on Father Yorke. Thank you, Sean. We'll all go to collect the plaque. Kathleen will leave. Okay, thank you very much. It's cold, and we will. Right.